So Innistrad Remastered and Aether Drift are right on top of us, and before we get into 2025's Magic, I think it's good if we go back and look at the year that was for 2024, and do it in the only way that we really know how, which is to play Magic the Gathering. So here's the setup. Myself, along with the other half of the Dungeon Bros, Sam, and typical Gemini, aka Wyatt, we played a little round-robin limited game using only cards released in 2024. We took one pack of every set that's been released all year, with a couple exceptions, but we'll get to that. Cracked them open, built decks out of them, and then played them against each other to see what cards really were the best in 2024. Here's the caveats. We started with Ravnica Remastered. We went through every single set. We skipped the Fallout collector boosters because we're not spending $30 for a collector booster. We even included non-standard sets like Modern Horizons 3, the Assassin's Creed Universes Beyond, and Foundations. Mystery Boosters 2 was a bit of a challenge for us. We wanted to get some, but we couldn't. So instead we got Mystery Boosters Convention Editions that we got at Gen Con this year. All cards in the packs are legal regardless of if they are new to 2024. That means reprinted cards as well as not legal cards like the playtest cards and Mystery Boosters are all fair game here. After opening up all of our packs, we combined them into 40 card decks to play against one another, and let's start with Sam. What deck are you running?
So for my deck, I'm doing classic green-white shenanigans. Starting with the Ornery Tumblewag as one of the main cards, doubling counters that I can put on creatures every combat is very good. The second part of my strategy is going to be get a big creature out and then make an elemental with its same power and toughness using Tumbleweed Rising. Now if I'm really having luck, I'll be able to use Eyes in the Sky to populate that token and get 2 big threats. Finally, mostly just because I pulled it, it really doesn't have anything to do with the strategy, Overlord the Hauntwood. Why wouldn't I use it?
Ooh, that's a big card.
Wyatt pulled a lot of good cards as well, but he landed on a very similar strategy to what I did, actually.
I think I'm looking at more of like a Rakdos color pairing, splashing with something else, and maybe not so much a tokens route, maybe Mardu, but we'll just have to get into all the cards we pulled and see what we can cook up.
So ultimately, he ended up going the Rakdos route, a lot of non-creature damage with cards like Coruscation Mage, as well as other just value creatures out of Bloomburrow. Also, between the three of us, I feel like he got the most use out of his playtest card, so that's fun. I ended up making a Mardu list, mostly red and white, with a little bit of splashing of black so I could play Alesha, who laughs at fate. Along with cards like Recruiter of the Guard and Slickshot Show Off, we're going aggressive, we're going creature recursion, and we're going I don't care if my things die in combat. So with all that out of the way, let's start with Game 1, Sam versus Wyatt.
All right, prepare for trouble.
And make it double. I'll start out strong, powerful, with a Plains.
Ooh.
And I'll pass.
I'm going to start with my Mystery Booster Gold card. Gold Mine.
What does that do?
It taps for a colorless, but it also has an ability called Legacy, and I can tap it, mark one of card names, which would be Gold Mine, unmarked nodes, and add 1 mana of any color. It's basically just mana fixing. So I'm going to tap that for black, for a swamp, and run out the Ravine Raider.
I'm going to play this Forest. And then I'm going to tap for 2, and I'm going to play the Banesbaker Duo. When it enters the battlefield, I create a food. Whenever I expend 4, Banesbaker Duo gets +1/+1 until the end of turn.
I'm going to untap. I'm going to upkeep. I'm going to draw for the turn. I'm going to then play a Barbarian Ring. And then I will tap 2, not choosing to use one of the nodes on my gold mine, and run out a Smelted Charge Bug. And it enters the battlefield. I get 2. Count them, 2 energy counters. From there, I'm going to move to combat, and the Ravine Raider is going to come in for 1.
It has Menace, right? So I can't block?
It does have Menace.
So I'll take 1.
And with that, I will pass the turn.
Play a land. For now, I'm going to tap 3, plot Tumbleweed Rising. Is a sorcery that creates an XX green elemental creature token, where X is the greatest power among creatures I control, but that is plotted right now. And I will just go ahead and pass from there.
I will play an Evolving Wilds. I will sack the Evolving Wild, and I will go find a Plains card. Once again, using the gold mine to tap for colorless, I'm just going to play the Coruscation Mage for his debut showing. Then I'm going to move to combat. I'm going to swing with both the Smelted Charge Bug and the Ravine Raider.
I cannot block, so no blockers. Take it 2.
And with that,
Alright.
I will pass the turn.
I'm going to play a Plains. I'm going to tap for 3, and I'm going to play the Ornery Tumblewag.
Oh no.
At the beginning of combat on my turn, I put a +1 counter on target creature. Whenever Ornery Tumblewag attacks while saddled, double the number of +1 counters on target creature. Move to combat. I will put a +1 counter on Bane's Baker Duo and swing in for 3.
I guess I'll have to take 3.
So I'll go ahead and pass the turn.
I'm going to untap. I'm going to move to my upkeep, and I will draw a card. I will be sad for a moment.
Sadness resolves.
Okay, and then I'm going to tap 3, taking 1 from the Barbarian Ring, and using another node on my gold mine, or a black, to play the Derelict Attic. Unlock this door, I draw 2 cards, and then lose 2 life. I will then play a land, and you will take 1 from the Coruscation Mage for the enchantment being played.
Going down to 16.
Pay 1 and equip the Coruscation Mage with a Taste for Mayhem, which will trigger the Coruscation Mage again. He now has +2/+0.
Take 1 from the Coruscation Mage.
And then I'm going to move to combat, where I will swing everything. I will expend 1 energy from the Charge Bug to give the Coruscation Mage +1/+0 and Menace.
I only have 1 blocker, so I cannot block. 7 total.
I will pass the turn.
I will play this Forest for turn. I'm going to use the Bane's Baker Duo to saddle the Ornery Tumblewag. I will move to
Saddle.
combat.
Mm-hmm.
I will first put a +1 counter onto the Bane's Baker Duo.
Okay.
I will then swing with the Ornery Tumblewag. When it attacks, since it is saddled, I will double the number of +1 counters on target creature. So you have a 2/2 coming at you.
I will take 2.
I'm going to cast Tumbleweed Rising.
Okay.
For free, since I was plotted. I will create an XX green elemental creature token where X is the greatest power among creatures I control, which is currently 6.
It's pretty good.
It's pretty good, and so we'll represent that with Hang Time Chris Wilcox.
What's up, Chris Wilcox?
He is a 6/6. You know, I'll just go ahead and pass from there.
Just gonna immediately go to combat. All of my menace creatures are swinging. I will again spend the last bit of energy to give the Coruscation Mage +1 and menace.
All right, before blockers, I'm going to tap for 4, and I'm going to cast Eyes in the Sky. When I cast Eyes in the Sky, it creates a 1/1 bird creature token, and then I populate. I will populate the elemental.
That seems pretty good.
So now I have 2 6/6 elementals. I'd like to move to blocks. I will put both elementals in front of the Coruscation Mage.
I will tap 1 and 2, and then I will play Imperial Shield, dealing 1 damage to you from the Coruscation Mage. It gains indestructible, so it does not
Alrighty.
die.
And then I will take 2 more from damage.
Yeah, I'll just I'll go ahead and just pay the 2, spending another node, and I will boost the Ravine Raider by +1/+1, making it 2.
All right, so I'll take 3 in total. Going
Yes.
down to 4.
Yeah. Then it's your turn.
Tap for 4, and I'll play the Moonlit Strider. That is a 1/4 spirit that I can sacrifice to give a creature I control protection from my choice of color. That is a 4 cost, so that will trigger the Bane's Baker Duo. Use the bird and the strider to saddle the Ornery Tumblewag. I'll move to combat. I will go ahead and swing with everything.
Yep.
Putting a +1 counter on the Bane's Baker Duo, and then doubling it. 13, 13, a 2/2, and 2 6/6s coming at you.
I'll move to dead.
All right.
Wyatt was scared of the big tokens, and rightfully so. So let's move him on to game 2. Let's see how he does against me in my Mardu list.
Start things off with a Plains Impasse.
I'm going to play an Abraded Bluffs. It enters tapped, and it will deal 1 damage to you upon ETB. I'll pass.
I have a Swamp that I will now play and tap immediately for a Ravine Raider. But with that, I will P the T, because I can't do anything else.
We'll do the Deceptive Landscape. We'll go for red and 1, and I'll give you a Heartfire Immolator.
I will play a Mountain. And then I will tap 3 for a Bacilla Guards. 1/4 with Defender and Extort. And then I'm going to swing the Ravine Raider, which has Menace, at you for 1.
All right, I cannot declare a blocker. I will drop 1.
And with that, I will pass the turn.
We'll play a Swamp. We'll tap for white and 2. I'll cast Recruiter of the Guard. I get to search my library for a creature card with toughness 2 or less. I reveal it. I put it in my hand.
Seems pretty good.
It is. It's a pretty good magic card, all things considered. We're just going to grab a Boros Elite. You might be thinking, wow, that's really weird. Why wouldn't he grab that one card that works really well in his deck?
It's probably because you already have it in your hand.
Hey, you never know. I'll P the T.
Okay, I'm going to play a Plains. I'll tap 2, and I will play a Koroshishin Mage.
Fucking hell.
And I'll Offspring that.
Oh my god.
So now he comes in with a little friend, and I think for that we're gonna use Page Holder. So now anytime I cast a non-creature, you're gonna take 2. I think I'm gonna just pass the turn. I'm gonna P the T. Back to you.
We'll give the old Raucous Theater a go. Land drop for turn. Surveil 1.
Seems pretty good.
Yeah, I'm gonna leave that. We'll send Recruiter of the Guard at you.
You know what? I think I'll just take 1.
Your assumptions were correct. I'll cast an Alesha who laughs at fate. Raid trigger at the end, and nothing happens because I don't have anything in my graveyard, so I'll P the T.
All right, I am going to declare the Ravine Raider as an attacker.
I will declare nothing as a blocker.
All right, that's super good. All right, well then you take 1. What if you got something up your sleeve? Oh well.
I'm tapped out right now, so.
I'm gonna tap 4 and I'll play Rodeo Pyromancers. This is whenever you cast your first spell each turn, I get to add 2 red mana. Not my first one, and I'll pass the turn.
Give it the old Boros Guildgate. We're gonna go ahead and send it all. 2/2 first strike. I have an attack trigger. She becomes a 3/3 with first strike. 2/2 with prowess and a 1/1 with nada.
I'll block Alesha with first strike.
With the 1/4?
The 1/4 defender.
We'll let that happen. So you'll end up taking 3.
Bigger than normal.
We'll give the old Boros Elite a hello. We'll also do red and 1 for... I could have done this in the main phase, but I wanted to hold up mana. Krenko's Command. I have a prowess trigger, but it's too late. And then I'm just going to crack this Deceptive Landscape for a Plains. That'll enter tapped, and I'll pass.
Okey-dokey. That was a pretty productive turn, I'd say. We're just going to go to combat and swing the Ravine Raider once more.
I'll put this Gabo and the Boros Elite in front of it.
Okay, you've activated my trap card, and I'm going to pay 1 and flash in the Hidden Footblade. Both the Coruscation Mages.
Ouchie,
and
ouch. Go to 16.
And then I'm also going to tack on an Extort with that, so you will take another one and I'll gain a life. That will give him +1 and first strike, so I will take out the Elite.
Well, they're both 1/1, so wouldn't they both die?
Oh, yeah. It's first strike damage. Yeah.
All right, so the Gabo goes, the Boros Elite goes.
And with that, I will pass the turn.
We're going to go ahead and give it the old cast. Roughshod Duo. Whenever I expend 4, target creature gets +1/+1 and gains trample. We're going to leave the Gabo back, but we'll attack with the other 3. I have an Alesha trigger. Gets +1/+1 counter. So you got a 4/4 first strike, a 2/2 prowess, and a 1/1.
Okay, I will block the red card with the Bacilla Guard, and I will block your Recruiter with the Rodeo Pyromancers. Yeah.
Recruiter of the Guard dies. I will move to my end step. I will get a raid trigger on Alesha. I'll return Recruiter of the Guard to the battlefield. When it enters the battlefield, I'll search my library for a creature card with toughness 2 or less. I'll reveal it and put it in my hand. You are free to begin your turn as I find my Slick Shot show off.
That is what we call in the biz synergy. I'm going to swing out
Your defender?
with... Oh, not the defender, because it has defender. But I'm going to swing with everything else.
The 3/4, the big one. I'm going to throw Recruiter of the Guard in front of that. I'll throw the Goblin in front of the 1/1 token, and I'll let the other, what would that be, 4 go through?
I think I just got to let it go. Yeah.
Let it go. Tokens
All right,
go.
so token goes.
Recruiter of the Guard
for
dies.
the Raider?
So I'll take 4. I'll go to 11.
P the T and hope for the best.
On your end step, I'm going to tap 2, and I'm going to Plane Cycle the Shepherding Spirits, grabbing a basic Plains to my hand. We'll play that Plains for turn. We'll jam Slickshot Show Off.
It's gross.
Pegasus Courser. And whenever it attacks, it gives another target creature flying. Roughshod Duo then triggers because I have now expended 4. And we're going to give Alesha, who laughs at fate, +1/+1, and Tarampiel. All right, we're gonna go ahead and attack with all of the attackables. Alesha triggers, gets a +1/+1 counter.
That is a lot. I'm gonna put the Basiligard in front of the Prowess guy because I don't want to take that, and I think I just got to take
7, 8, 9, 10, 11.
Ow!
You'll take the 11.
Big ouch.
Big ouch. End step trigger, raid trigger on Alesha. I get to bring a mana value 6 or higher out. I'll bring out the Shepherding Spirits, which is a 4/5 flyer. And I'll ship it to you, sir.
Finally, there you are, other lands. Thank you for showing up.
Did you pack a board wipe in there, bud?
I did not. But not the defender, but swinging out everything else.
Let's block the Coruscation Mage with the 4/5 flyer.
All right, well, I'm going to tap 2 and play Dawn's Truce,
Oh, wow.
gifting you a card.
All right.
And it will gain indestructible because I do not want it to die.
I will draw. It also triggers.
It does trigger, and I'm going to also add an Extort to the stack.
I'll take the Extort, I'll take the Ping from the Coruscation Mage, and then I will take how much from the remaining? 5?
2, 5. Yes, 5. And unfortunately, I think I'm just going to have to pass after that.
Oh, wow, that's a cool card. I'm going to attack you with everything.
Yeah, and I'm going to die.
And I have Siege Smash and Fake Your Own Death and Crumb and Get It back up.
Man.
Wow, Wyatt, I feel bad. Thank you so much for playing with us. Better luck next year. Wyatt does amazing budget deck techs over at his YouTube channel, Typical Gemini MTG. You can check him out in the link in the description. Anyway, let's go to the championship round. Let's see who wins between the Dungeon Bros, myself, Connor, or Sam. I'll choose to be on the play. I'll land drop this swamp and I'll pass.
Land drop swamp, notably very powerful move.
I'm going to play this forest, and I'm going to say go.
Mountain. We'll tap them, and I'm going to... Do I have to reveal for plot?
Yes, plot is face up.
Okay, it is a Slick Shots show off. Plotted.
Ooh.
And I'll pass.
I'm going to play this plains for turn. I'm going to tap both, and I'm going to play this Drudge Beetle. It's a 2/2 insect that I can exile from my graveyard to put a +1 counter on a creature.
Okay.
Actually, 2 +1 counters on a creature. And I'll pass.
We'll do another swamp. These are the 2 basic swamps in my entire deck, by the way. We'll cast this Slick Shot Show Off, and I'm going to move to combat. I will declare the Slick Shot Show Off as an attacker. It's a 1/2 in the air.
I cannot block, so I will take 1.
Second main, I'll tap for 3, and I'll cast Alesha, who laughs at fate. I get its raid trigger, but there's nothing in my graveyard to reanimate, so I'll pass.
I'm going to play a plains. I'm going to move to combat. I will swing at you for 2 on the ground with the Drudge Beetle.
All right, I will not declare a blocker.
Alrighty, go ahead and take 2. Pass the turn.
P the T. All right, we'll go straight to the combat. I'm going to attack with both the Slick Shot Show Off and Alesha. Alesha triggers on attack and gets a +1/+1 counter. So you have a 3/3 first strike and a 1/2 flyer.
I have no blockers.
All right. I will not do anything else, so you'll end up taking 4 total. Second main, I'll cast an Etched Slith, 1/1 artifact creature with menace, and I'll ship it.
Plains to turn. Move to combat, attack with the Drudge Beetle.
Declare no blocks.
2 points of damage to you. And I will go ahead and pass from there.
Play this mountain. We'll attack with all the things. Alesha triggers. Now she's a 4/4.
I'll declare no blockers, but I will play Make Your Move before damage.
I will respond to that Make Your Move, and I'll tap 2 and Fake Your Own Death, targeting Alesha. So she'll die still, but then she'll return to the battlefield tapped, and I create a treasure token. So she ends up losing her counters. So you end up taking... Okay, Slick Shot gets +2/+0. So you'll end up taking 3 from the Slick Shot and 1 from the Etched Slith.
Alrighty, go down to 12.
All right, and Etched Slith deals combat damage, so he gets a +1/+1 counter. I think we are going to call that good. Alesha triggers, and there's nothing in my graveyard to reanimate.
Hey, you'd love to see a forest. I'm going to tap for 5, including 2 green, and I'm going to play Overlord of the Hauntwood.
Oh,
Fuck.
that's a
It's
good
a-
card.
It's a pretty
just
good card.
Straight up or vanishing?
Straight up. When it enters the battlefield or attacks, I will create a tapped colorless land token named Everywhere that's every basic land type. And if I was
Okay.
a smart boy, which I am not, I would have created an Everywhere. I would have gotten myself an Everywhere token. But since I am not a smart boy,
Use
I
a
will
random card
use-
from a different TCG.
Oh, you mean like Hang Time Chris Wilcox?
Yeah.
Okay. Or Garbage Pail Kids, whatever you prefer.
I'll move to combat and I will attack for 2.
I cannot declare a blocker, so I will take the 2.
I'll pass.
I'm going to, on your end step... Oh, I probably should have done this when you declared attackers. I'm going to Scorching Dragonfire your Dredge Beetle. Deals 3 damage. It would go to exile instead of the graveyard. I'll move to combat. I'll attack with all the things. Alesha gets a +1/+1 counter.
Now's the time we almost ask ourselves, what's Connor got up his sleeve?
It would be 6 total damage.
I'll block Alesha, I guess.
All right. After the declare blocker step, I'm cracking this for a white, and I'll add a red. I'm going to cast Ride Down. Destroy target blocking creature.
Yep.
Creatures that were blocked by that creature this turn gain trample. Not that that matters. Trigger Slick Shot Show Off gets +2/+0. So you end up taking a total of 8 damage. Trigger the Etched Slith gets another +1/+1 counter. Hopefully you got something good. Pass the turn.
I'm going to tap for 4, and I'm going to play Eyes in the Sky. I'm going to create a 1/1 bird creature token with flying. That will be represented by Grogu. And then I will populate. So I'll get a second Grogu. And then I will pass.
I heard that's an early development at Disney, Grogu 2.
It is.
Grogu 2 Electric Boogaloo.
It is. I'm going to tap a swamp and a mountain, and I'm going to plane cycle this Shepherding Spirits. Grab a plains. I will land drop this plains. I will then cast one of the white cards in my hand, finally. A Grand Entryway. I create a 1/1 White Glimmer.
A glimmer of hope, if you will.
Indeed, indeed.
Not for me.
Not at all. Not at all. I have 1 trigger on the Slick Shot Show Off. We'll go ahead and swing all of the things. Trigger Alesha gets another +1/+1 counter. You got a 4/4 first strike, a 3/3 Menache, and a 3/2 in the air.
All right, before blockers, I'm going to tap 2, and I'm going to cast Foul Strike, targeting the Slick Shot Show Off.
All right, Slick Shot is gone to the yard with him.
Then I will use one of the Grogus to block Alesha, and I cannot block the Slith, so I'll take 3, go down to 1.
All right, I will move to the end step. I get a raid trigger on Alesha. I have a legal target with the Slick Shot Show Off, so the Slick Shot returns, and I'll pass.
I'm going to start by tapping for 4, casting Intrepid Rabbit with paying the Offspring cost. It will create a little offspring of itself, represented by Prism, Advent of Thrones.
We got 3 TCGs and a CCG on Sam's board.
So the Intrepid Rabbit, when it enters the battlefield, target creature gains +1/+1 until end of turn. We'll choose Grogu. We'll choose the bird for both of the triggers. It's now a 3/3 bird. I'll move to combat. I'll attack you for 3 in the air.
I will not declare a blocker. I'll take 3.
Well, before damage, I'm going to tap for 1, and I'm going to Giant Growth it,
Ooh.
giving it +3/+3 until end of turn.
I will take 6.
Second main phase, tap for 1, and I will play the Arboreal Grazer. I cannot do it ZTB because I do not have another land card in my hand. I will pass.
We're going to move straight to the combat. Did I miss an Etched Slith trigger to give it another counter last turn?
Yes, you should have given it another one last turn.
All right, Alesha triggers. I give her a counter. Before the declare blocker step, I'm going to throw down a Thraben Charm. We're going to slap that Arboreal Grazer with 8 damage.
Takes 8 damage.
Die to creatures, I believe.
Yep, I will die.
Holy outfit change, Batman. I totally didn't forget to record an outro for this video at all. That would be unprofessional. I think what we learned about 2024 is that in a limited setting, aggressive cards and pulling multiple very powerful rares and mythics is a good thing. I know, very surprising you couldn't have possibly guessed it. But again, thank you so much to Wyatt for joining us in this little round robin tournament thing. I think it was pretty fun. Tell us what you think in the comments down below. If you like videos like this, be sure to subscribe and let us know over at our Patreon. You can get there for free, patreon.com/thedungeonbros. If you join at the $5 tier or higher, you get early ad-free access to our Dungeons & Dragons and Magic the Gathering podcast, the Duels and Manadorks podcast that we post every other week. If you want to see what the Duels and Manadorks podcast is like, check out this video right here.